My name's Gordon Frederick Coggon.
And where are you from?
And I'm from Doncaster in South Yorkshire, England. I'm going to talk to you tonight about my life in a way and some of the experiences that I've had. And when I was 17 and 3/4 years old, I was called up from my job, which was a chap on an oil rig, sort of a drilling rig, but it was drilling for coal seams rather than oil. And because of my age, I was called up for national service to the British military. I ended up in the RAF because I signed on for 3 years on the advice of the man in charge of the recruitment office. He said, if I signed on for 3 years, I might get a better trade. Oh yeah, fine. He gave me a better trade, all right. A fancy name, administrative orderly, he said. I thought, my, that sounds good. So I signed a dotted line for 3 years and found out I was a master of everything, knowing everything, if you like, but a master of no trade. I was a general dog's body, in other words.
So how long were you in the military before that you got... how far long were you in the military before they sent you to Christmas Island?
Just about 6 months, something. No, about 7 or 8 months. And then I went to Christmas Island.
What did they tell you?
They told me nothing. They told me I was posted to an island in the Pacific. I didn't know what it was about. All I was told was the fact that everybody was jealous. They wanted to go to a desert island and so on. And
woman under every palm tree. We've all
yeah, blue oceans. I thought, my God, am I a lucky son of a gun?
So how long were you on Christmas Island?
I was on Christmas Island for a year.
And when did you find out that you were there for the nuclear tests?
Where did I find, sorry?
When did they tell you were there? When did you find out?
Oh, right. Well, I arrived there, I think it was in September, late September. And on November the 1st, I think it was, they told us we were having a rehearsal for the dropping of a hydrogen bomb, which incidentally was Grapple X. And that would happen on the 8th of November. But on about the 1st of November, we was given these rehearsals where we'd sit under the coconut trees, about 2,000 of us at the main camp, and face south with just our shorts and shirts on, and loudspeakers all around us in the trees and everywhere, which recorded and everything that was happening from air traffic control, from the bomber that was going to drop the bomb, and so on. And we had this sort of dry run on the 1st of November.
So when the first one was dropped,
yeah,
what did you think when you saw the bomb?
Well, on the 8th of November, we sat there like that with our backs to the bomb, our hands over our eyes like that, and our heads tucked into our knees. And we was frightened to death because the loudspeakers told us to get ready. The aircraft was at Point Charlie and about to drop the bomb. And I sat there like that, and suddenly, there was no sound, nothing. Suddenly, from blackness, I saw the bones in my hand. Every bone in my hand I could see as if I was stripped of flesh. And I was frightened to death, to be honest, and so was a lot more. In fact, a lot of the lads was crying for their mother. They were only 18-year-olds. We were only young men, very young men. And we didn't know what to expect at all. They didn't tell us that we would see the bones in our hands. They didn't tell us about the gamma ray that went through us like an hot oven, somebody shoved a fire, an electric fire, against your body and slowly pushed it through. It happened in about 3-4 seconds, but it seemed longer. And then afterwards, after that had happened, about 30 seconds after, maybe more, they told us we could stand up and look round at the bomb. And when I stood up, I couldn't believe it. It was supposed to be 32 miles away at altitude, but the bomb cloud itself was above us. We were having to crane our heads back, looking at it, and it was growing and growing, enormous. And it was a great big fireball at first. At first you couldn't look at it because it just looked like you're looking at the sun. You had to squint, you couldn't look at it directly. And then it slowly died down to like a red glow in a huge cloud, a red glow in the middle. But it wasn't small, it was taking half of the horizon up in front of you, and it was growing all the time.
So how many tests, because you've already put that on another video, so we have all that. So how many of the other tests did you see?
How many other?
Of the other tests of...
Oh, I saw Grapple Y, which was bigger. That one I'm talking about was Grapple X, which was 1.8 megatons. Grapple Y on April the 28th the following year was 3 megatons. And that was exploded exactly in the same place, 32 miles away from where we sat. If you imagine Hiroshima, the bomb dropped by the United States on Japan, it was an atom bomb, 1 kiloton, or equivalent to. Now that was destroyed up to about 8 kilometers of the city of Hiroshima. Now this bomb, what I was sat under, 3 megatons, was 300 times bigger, and we were 32 miles away. So they tried to tell us that we had no risk or rigor. It frightened us all to death.
So you were just as frightened the second time?
More so, because they told us, because they give us an anti-flash suit like they wore on warships for the big guns, and we wouldn't feel the heat. They told us this, and they didn't tell us we wouldn't feel the heat. These anti-flash suits and the darkened glasses stopped us feeling any heat or seeing anything. Of course, we didn't see the bones in our hands because we had white gloves on as well and the darkened glasses. So what did I do? I pulled the darkened glasses down thinking it had fell in the sea and they're expecting a tsunami. I thought, my God, what's going to happen? Are we going to get all drowned? So I pulled the glasses down and immediately I couldn't see a thing. It was, I don't know, bright white. You couldn't see nothing, couldn't see the trees next to you, you couldn't see all the men around you. And I thought I was burning up, to be honest. I thought we'd already dead. And slowly, you sort of got the light coming back again, or shapes, if you like. But I never got my sight back for a week, not properly. I was blind for a week.
So after the test and you got back, how long were you in the military before you went into civilian life?
Before I went on that test, on those tests. How long was I there? About 6 months to 7 months. Because after basic training, I went to RAF Emswell, and I was there about 4 months, something like that. And then I was sent via the States to Hawaii, from Hawaii to Christmas Island.
But after the tests, how long did you stay in the military before you went into civilian life?
I signed on for 22 years.
You were in the military for 22 years?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And
Did you ever think about the tests in those 22?
Oh dear, did I think about them? I continually had nightmares, not so much now, but then I got nightmares because I felt I was lost in this white light. I used to wake up, thinking I was lost. I'd gone, I couldn't find my way out of it. And that's how I woke up.
And how often did that happen?
About once every month, something like that, once a month.
Did you talk to your wife about that or anybody else?
No, I was a little bit apprehensive about it because I didn't want people to think I was a wimp, if you like.
Wow.
But I wasn't a wimp. It was genuine. I didn't want people thinking I was a yellow belly.
So it tortured you?
Yeah, but it did affect me. And I did have problems with my health.
So what was the first health problem that you had?
The first health problem was the fact that I was called, when I was in Singapore, later on in the military, I went on a detachment to Malacca, and I was recalled to Singapore because they'd found that I'd got a bent spine and acute scoliosis, and yet I'd had thorough medicals and x-rays when I first joined the services, which would have been 5 to 6 years previous.
They wouldn't have let you in the military had you had scoliosis, right?
They wouldn't have had me, no.
Okay.
No.
So how many years was that after the test?
It was in 1965. That's, I can't remember. The test was 57, 58. So it's about 7 or 8 years, yeah.
And that was the first time. What was next?
The next was I had all my teeth, lost all my teeth.
Which is very common. When did that happen?
About 2 years after, something like that.
So you went in at 17, 8 years later, you have scoliosis, 2 years later.
Lost my teeth.
So you're about 27 years old, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't you think that was kind of odd?
I did, because although I had been a boxer, and of course I had got a few bad teeth, but I didn't expect them all to be taken out. And he said they're dropping out, we'll have to have them all out,
What did you think?
I thought it was due to boxing at the time.
So when did you start putting it all together that...
Well, it was years later. In fact, I'd left the services when I read about people who'd been at Christmas Island joining BT and BNTVA, British Nuclear Test Veterans Association, which I joined and then read about it all. And that's when I realised it could have been that what started to cause my health problem. I got digestion problems. I had to have my, what's this thing called here?
Your duodenum?
Sorry?
Your duodenum or...
Oh dear, I forget what they call it. A bladder. It's some kind of a bladder.
Gallbladder.
Oh, gallbladder. I had to have the whole thing out.
You can remind him, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you being quiet, but you can remind him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I had, I got cancer, prostate cancer.
So when did you guys get together? Before you had the gallbladder?
Yes.
Okay. So when did you and your wife start thinking that it might be service related? Only after you started reading about it with the BNTVA?
Well, that's when I thought something was associated with, the nuclear testing, because I also had a son born whilst I was in Singapore, who was born 5 weeks premature with, he was born a blue baby. He had to have several blood changes, and we nearly lost him 5 weeks premature. That was before I met my present wife. That was my first wife, who's died. Sorry?
Is your son still alive?
No, my son is. My first wife has died of heart problems. Yeah.
Wow. And you and your wife started talking about, or you started talking to people that were having exactly the same problems that you were, who had been exposed to ionizing radiation, yes?
Sorry, Brian, I
So
couldn't.
because you got involved with the BNTVA,
Yeah.
you started meeting people like Doug and others who were exactly
Yeah.
the same as you.
Yes, I read about it. That's weird. I've had it, and so on. You know, prostate cancer. I had to have 3 months of radio treatment, radiotherapy, and I was still working, driving lorries, and I used to go to work in the morning and come in the afternoon, and Mary, my present wife, she'd come with me to Sheffield, which is 15 miles, and have treatment every day for 3 months.
Did you tell your doctors that did you tell your physicians, doctors, that you had been to the tests?
I did, but they said they didn't know nothing about it.
You used to show them the black
I
lights.
asked if I could find out about any medical things I had, and they said they've got nothing about me being in the forces.
So
Got no medical records at all.
were you angry? Were you?
Well, I wasn't very happy because I'd asked about medical facilities, medical records from the forces, but they said that they hadn't got any.
They said they were lost.
They'd lost, yeah. So I don't know.
Because you wanted
Something
to know
weird,
more,
anyway.
because
I got on to my MP for Doncaster, and she said she couldn't help me because she was the deputy speaker in the House of Commons. She had to be, she couldn't take part in any discussions for or against the present government because she was the speaker. So she passed it on to a minister. The minister sent me the usual bump they sent everybody. We have no risk and rigour and all that business, which I passed on to Alan, you know, in LABRATS. Yeah.
So have any of your children, other than the blue baby, had any problems?
As far as I know now, John, my son, he's got no problems, but I did have an eldest daughter who was born after the test, and she got tuberculosis at the age of 5 years, and that went on until she was 8 on medicines to get her better again. My youngest daughter had lumps in her breast, and she got them when she was around 30 years old though.
Have you ever had a bone density test? Because bone density of a lot of people that were at the test have really weak bones. They have osteoporosis, things like that.
Weak bones, no, but myself, I've recently had problems myself with my knees, but I think that's old age, I don't know.
The clock keeps ticking.
Yeah,
And as Jim
but
Morrison,
my back aches a lot. My
as
back.
Jim Morrison said, nobody gets out alive. So I mean, it's just one of those deals.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
do you want recognition?
I'd love recognition. I don't want money. I want them to admit what they did to us, and especially to the kids. The kids of the veterans who suffered. That's what I want. I want them to admit what they've done, but they won't, because the British government. Well, I've got a word for them which is unrepeatable.
You can say unrepeatable words. It's okay. We're all adults.
Well, they're arseholes.
Say it again. Say it.
They are. They're arseholes.
I understand that. So this is going to. Alan wants me to make a video that they can show Indiana to the UN. What would you tell the world? What you've been through, other people? What would you like to say?
I'd like to say, sorry about that.
It's all right. It's been a long day. The batteries they're like us. They're getting older. It's easy to repair. We just put another one in.
I honestly think they should give them recognition before they're all gone and nobody can get it.
Yeah, I know. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
All right, Gordon, let's pick up where we were.
Yeah, Well, I'd like to say, Brian, that anybody who watches this video, please try and get the atomic bombs and nuclear everything out of the way. We don't want them, because for instance, you get one bomb on England and it's gone. I'm telling you, one bomb like that, what I saw, you can forget it, because once one throws one, they'll throw some back and so on. It'd take 3 bombs to wipe out England. And not only that, when you're throwing one from one country to another, you end up with a very, very bad situation for the world, because nothing can survive nuclear radiation. It's invisible. Nobody can see it, you can't feel it, but it'll get you in the end. So do what you can to ban the bomb, ban everything nuclear, even power stations. All this plutonium that's building up around the world, they can't get rid of it. There's nowhere to store it, and it's very highly radiated. I mean, we're talking very, very serious problems for the rest of the world, for people in the world. We won't have a world if we carry on. And now, of course, we've got, in this present day, we've got Mr. Putin talking about he'll be throwing a few atom bombs around if anything starts with these problems with Ukraine, which are going on now. Now, once that starts, it'll never stop until the end of the world. You don't want it, people. You don't want it. I've seen it. It still frightens me to death. I just don't know what to do. I don't know.
That's excellent. That's terrific. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Well, the kids of the veterans get some, even after I'm gone, if they get something out of this, you know, some help or whatever, that's what I'd like. I don't want money, I don't want compensation. I want the British government to do the right thing and make the veterans' children, or make everybody realise what the veterans' children have gone through. And the veterans themselves, but there's only a few of us left, so it's up to our kids to keep on fighting and trying to get some recognition for all this terrible thing, nuclear. It's no good. We don't want it. The world doesn't want it.
But if people like you don't speak up, there won't be recognition.
Yes, well, I did write my story. I don't know if it's going to help anybody as well. I did write my life story, but I donated that to the veterans' kids. And just like I said, I'd like them helped. I'm too late to be helped.
Well,
I am. I'm 85 now. I mean, 84.
you
So,
heard of old dog, new tricks, all that stuff?
yeah.
So in closing, Gordon, I would like for you.
I mean, I've been through a lot of things since I've been in the military. I've been shot at, bombed. I don't make a song and a dance about that. That's part of military life. I've had some really close shaves in a crash rescue service, which I've went into later on, where I've had to drag out people out of burning aircraft. I've even had oxygen bottles exploding while I'm in the fire, and one stuck in my arm. Things like that, but you don't even think about that. You do it because it's your job. But when you're sent to an island like I was, as 18 years old, not told what you're going for, and they explode a monstrous thing like that, and then it affects your children and it affects all the veterans, all my pals, half of them gone at 30 or less. You know, it's sad.
It's a crime.
It's sad, it's a crime.
So in closing, I'd like for you to say your name again, and that you're a British atomic veteran, and you would like, and you deserve to be recognized.
Oh, I just hope we are. I hope that everything goes right for the kids. I do, honest.
You've said that, and you've said it beautifully. So say your name, that you're a British atomic veteran, and that you deserve to be recognized.
Yes, I'm Gordon Frederick Coggon, age 85 nearly, and I think I deserve to be recognised as an atomic nuclear bomb veteran of Christmas Island in 1957, 1958, and so does all the other chaps. And that's not just England, that's all the world who was involved in nuclear tests. I think everybody should be, and clean-up veterans too.
That was excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank
Keep
you
your
very
seat.
much.
Keep your seat, because I got to get your microphones and I got to take your picture.